No, that's good. No, that is good.
Hello and welcome to Painting Kings of War 2-player starter set Shadows in the North, Part 6, Snow Foxes. Starting off by mixing a couple of thin glazes of blue and then a yellow. Use game ink blue for the blue and some skeleton horde for the sort of yellowy colour. Real simple start on these. Yellow on the bellies and underneath, and blue for the rest of the fur, just to produce some subtle contrast. Don't want them to be just completely white. I primed these models with Vallejo Surface Primer Grey, which is a very light grey, and I've dry brushed from above in a downward motion, just with a white paint, just to bring out a little bit of the texture on the model. There's not actually that much texture on the model. I don't really like these models very much. You can see the legs, they look like chicken drumsticks attached to the side of the fox. But they're kind of a freebie. They come on the sprue with the pack hunters. Yeah, so if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. This is probably the most basic painting video that I've done to date. That's partly because these guys are free, like I said. Not even sure if they'll make their own unit or if I'll just have them on the bases of the other units, just to make the multi-basing look cool. Haven't decided yet. So yeah, just applying these glazes onto the model. Nothing complex here, kind of blending them on the model a little bit. Yeah, I'm batch painting all of these, so I won't show all of that, but you can see it's a really sort of quick start to painting these. I'd say overall each model took about 5 minutes, so this isn't going to be a high quality paint job, but you know, they should look pretty good on the tabletop when they're multi-based. But yeah, that's what we got so far. Back in with a bit of dry brushing on the white, just to add some texture back into the fur. Now we've got a kind of a beige transition with the sort of whitey blue fur on top and the yellowy blue fur on the belly and underneath on the tail. Really am aiming for these to be, you know, a proper speed paint job. They're not a bad model really, I suppose. I shouldn't be too harsh on them. I think it's just the joins where the legs join onto the body. Just doesn't look great. So there's a difference with a model that's had the extra dry brush on top. Yeah, it really makes a difference. Using some thinned down white paint now, using the white scar from Citadel, which I do like if I'm using it thinned down. Seems a bit more glossy than the Vallejo paint, but that might just be to my eye. Bit off screen there, but you can see what I'm doing. Just some of the areas that I want to stand out a little bit more of a solid white. You know, dry brush can be a little bit scratchy, so just add a little bit more white highlight some of these areas. Down the spine, on the ears, top of the head, on the tail. Paint's quite thin, it's just white scar, sort of watered down a little bit, not much. Just wiping off a little bit of the excess paint out of the brush on my thumb, just so that it doesn't sort of flood all over the model. You can see I'm not being super careful and I'm not particularly picking out elements of the fur, just just choosing the areas of the model that I want to be more highlighted, so like down the ridge of the spine, like I said. Back in with some more of the skeleton horde mix. I felt it wasn't enough contrast on the model, so I want the underside of the foxes to look a little bit more brown. So really it's just a straightforward case of going back in and applying some more of the skeleton horde. It is thinned down about 1:1 with contrast medium. The blue ink on top was thinned down further than that, probably sort of 4:1. It was maybe even 5 or 6:1 actually, it was quite thin. You can see on this model that the first pass of skeleton horde did pool a little bit under the belly there. I'm not that worried about that. Animals don't have uniform patterns on their fur, and I'm not that worried about the paint job on these. I just wanted it to look, pretty good. Doesn't have to be amazing. Bit of Gilliman flesh on the snouts and on the paws, around the mouth. Put a bit of that on the ears as well. Again, just to add a bit more interest to the model, and animals would tend to have even sort of polar bears or snow foxes in this case have a little bit of warmth around the nose and the ears. Always have a wet brush on hand just to mop up a bit of the paint if it goes in the wrong place. You can see I'm really not being very careful here, but I am using a smaller brush just to try and keep it in the right areas. Also use a little bit of that Gilliman flesh on the centre of the underside of the models, just to add some interest, some extra warmth really, mainly on the tails. Well, I start on the tails, then I decide I will put a little bit of it on the belly. You can see that these are, oh yeah, that's a little bit heavy there, so I will feather that out a little bit. That Gilliman flesh is thinned down, but only a little bit. I could have thinned it down a little bit more, but by this point I just wanted to make sure that each of these models was done in under 5 minutes. Yellow paint here, just carefully painting the eyes. Not my best job in the world. I mean, the paint went in the right place, and yellow eyes kind of look fine. I didn't want them to be red and evil looking. You take a really close-up photo, the eyes don't look that great, but on the tabletop these look fine. Bit of Seraphim Sepia, just to try and sort of define the eye sockets a little bit more. Decided I wanted the ears to be a little bit pinker, so going in with a Magos Purple straight out of the pot, just on the ears. Could have applied a bit of that to the feet if you wanted the feet to be a little pinker. Yeah, you can really see sort of overall these aren't a super high quality paint job, but I think they look pretty good. Happy with that. Let me know what you think. Yeah, I probably will build them up as their own sort of separate unit. Yeah, be really interested to know what you think, sort of 5-6 minutes on each of these. Good result. What would you do differently? Yeah, if you like the video, do give us a thumbs up. Still a fairly new channel here, so do appreciate that. And thanks for watching. Oh.